And we are live here on the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach. And I want to welcome you to our 870th episode. And today, I want to talk about an old wise tale. More communication is not necessarily best. It has to be focused and to the point for maximum benefit. So I want to talk about that a little bit because there's an old wise tale about over communicate. Just whatever in doubt, just over communicate. So we'll talk about that a little bit today. And it involves meetings. So this 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, where our mission is to help you in a very tactical and practical way deliver value to the customer, not work crazy hours, have a little fun, and get home to family and friends and have more fun. So that's our goal here. And today, just want to talk about over communication. And I want to give a plug out there. I do teach a class, disclaimer. I haven't taught it in a while. There's, Agile facilitation. I think more of the Agile quote certification version, doing more facilitation training. I see Agile has been offering it for a while. And it's about over communication is not necessarily better. I see so many people out there, Scrum Masters, product owners, dev teams, in meetings after meetings after meetings. And they think the job is to over communicate stuff. Hey, good morning. And it's problem is it get washed out in the communications. There's so much communications out there that these poor developers and people get too much and they don't know what the priority is. And the key really is focused and to the point communication and not a broad range stuff. Make it more of the push of the communication should be small. The pull of the communication could be larger of information. And that's where the change comes from. But where I think everyone thinks they need to be at every meeting, understand everything that's going on, every communications about, it's not true. You're living in a fantasy that you need to know everything on the planet. You can't. It's like when I work with PhDs, I don't need to know everything they know about being a PhD in whatever field they're in. Don't need to know that. They may want to tell me all the information, but I'm like, that's why you went to college for a gazillion years. You know that stuff. I'm not going to be able to absorb that. And only thing they communicate is when you have an issue or something, you want to celebrate, do a high five, do a high five to your partners and your teammates. Where I see it happening where everyone's emailing everything to everyone. There's like broad communications to go to everyone, but not everyone needs to see it. And this is where I see companies and organizations fail their employees and their businesses. And what they do is they'll communicate everything. And it's like, but they're not related to it. So all you do is inundating them with useless information that doesn't provide any value to the customer. And what we have to work on is our facilitation. Who's the audience? Who needs to be there? And who do we need to invite? And get away from, well, I'm going to invite everyone because I don't want anybody to be offended because I didn't invite them. They may not need to be there. They may appreciate not being invited. You can let them have a conversation as a facilitator rather than just assume, well, I'm just going to send an email to everyone on the planet, invite them to my meeting. Maybe I'll contact some people who I think maybe don't need to be there and say, hey, we're having this meeting. I just want you to know about it in case you think you really need to be there. If not, you don't have to accept the meeting. You can be invited as a tentative or whatever in your Outlook system or whatever mail system you have. But you don't have to accept every meeting, nor should you, right? Because you don't need to have all those communications. And then again, just over communication. We need to learn to limit how much we put out there because it just causes fodder in the brains of everyone. And I wanted to share that to you just to get away from, well, the old saying is this over communicate no matter what. No, we should communicate exactly what we do. And I'll give you an example. If you're going to have a meeting and it's about some stories, epics, features, whatever particular topic, put that in the agenda. Just cover that specific thing. Just don't say, and here's what I see a lot of people. Let's just all gather in a room. Let's book 2 hours of time and just be there and be there and communicate to each other. I said, well, that could be useless, right? You're better off having focused discussion and dialogue and exchange of ideas on a particular topic and let everyone know what those ideas so they can start thinking about that. But having a broad communication where everyone on the planet needs to know what we're talking about. Well, a lot of times they don't. And you're wasting time and money and valuable resources by sending those invites to everyone. Let them see what the agenda is. See if they met them, determine whether or not they need to be part of that communication trail for that activity. And if there's anything there, someone will know and they can let you know, oh, by the way, they talked about your subject on there, or I saw, something like that, and they'll let you know. You don't have, the world's not going to come to an end. And that I just wanted to share from a value perspective, from time, giving value to customer. Don't invite everyone to your meetings. If you have a question about whether or not you should invite them, send them a little note. Say, hey, do you want me to invite you to this meeting? You don't necessarily need to be there. It's more product based, or maybe this is more Scrum Master based, or maybe this is something, more development, technical stuff on how to learn how to code. I mean, a lot of people need to learn how to code, stuff like that. But you don't have to be in everything and be part of every event. And you don't want to be the bottleneck to prevent the other people that really need to be in that communication chain from communicating in a face-to-face or virtual meeting, right? So I just wanted to share that with you. I want everyone to understand over communication is not necessarily a good thing, right? Just get that. I wish sometimes. I hate reply alls. Let's email everybody, even if they have nothing to do with the topic. So they take a time away from delivering valuable product to read an email that has absolutely nothing to do with what their task is ahead. They should understand, though, if they're getting paid or there's an HR thing or there's something related to their career, that's important. That applies to everyone, as long as it does, right? Not that it sometimes doesn't. Maybe it doesn't, but those are the kind of things. So I just wanted to share that with you today. Just think about it as a Scrum Master, product owner, dev team, manager. You don't necessarily need to send emails to everybody. Make an agenda, put that in the email, communicate that so they can make a decision whether or not they need to attend. And again, take the time as a facilitator to make sure you do have the right people in place. Don't just blindly send the email out to distribution list if it doesn't apply to them. Make sure that they need to be part of the discussion. Otherwise, you're taking people away from coding or delivering product to the customer or doing whatever their job is, handling a customer, taking care of a client, whatever it would be, to read an email that may or may not apply to what they're doing. So with that, I want to say, have a good day. Happy Scrumming. Don't forget, tonight, Tuesday night, we do our jobs review, news and tech, and the Fed raised rates last week, and the stock market took a little dive on Friday and a little dive yesterday. So we'll see how it does today. I heard something about a couple big companies. We'll see if that's posted that they're going to do a 10% layoff. I think it was, I don't want to say which one. I want to make sure. I haven't really read exactly one. We'll find out together today on where the stats. I see a lot of stuff out there about returning to work. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit tonight too, as we go through that activity. With that, I say take care, have a great day, and see you tonight.